Hello, this is the Heretic Legion video for Trench Crusade, and for Heretic Legion there is 3 sub-warband currently: the Trench Ghosts, the Knights of Everis, and the Heretic Nova Raiders. For the regular Heretic Legion, your Warband leader the Heretic Priest, and you have the Chorister and Death Commando as elite choice, and for regular units you can pick the Heretic Trooper, Warwolf, Wretched, Anointed and Artillery Witch, and only the Anointed, the Wretched and the Heretic, which is like a multi-unit option, all of them is 0-1. And for mercenaries you have the usual Goetic Warlock, Scripture Guardian, Sin Eater and Trench Dog. As a warband, the Heretic Legion is your general Hell-aligned faction, so there is no any special extra rule for them, but your units have some more ability compared to other factions, so you can have a little bit of more tricks here and there. As a start, your Heretic Priest is your classic +2/+2 elite and tough unit, and they have one very useful action, which is the Puppet Master, and if you pass a successful risky roll, you can move one unit within 12 inch, it can be friendly unit or enemy unit, and one direction you make it move d6 inch. And this means that as it's written that you can even move out of combat with it, so this can be very useful to do some move shenanigan either with your unit to make your unit get closer to the objective or whichever advantageous position, or a little bit to mess with your opponent's distance compared to the objective or your units or whatsoever. So this is a very useful action, and I think it's mandatory to try to use it every turn when you can. The Death Commando is your Infiltrator unit, and it has a minor restriction on which item it can use for ranged weapon, otherwise only also the grenade is restricted a bit. But as abilities it has a Stealth Generator, which is giving a -1 dice for the enemy ranged attack against the commando, so it's kind of useful to make it possibly alive longer. And the Hide action is a risky action, which is if you close enough to the terrain piece or the cover and it's high enough, you can make yourself hidden if you pass the risky roll, and this can be technically negated only if the enemy moves right close to the commando or into melee combat. So it makes it almost like not unkillable but very hard to target the commando. And the Chorister, your last elite unit, is a dedicated melee unit, as it has -2 dice for the ranged attacks, even though it can get ranged weapons, so it is what it is. And other than a fear keyword, it has kind of a fear bubble, let's say, with the unholy hymns, but this is not exactly giving fear bubble, but it's doing kind of the same as giving -1 dice for the success rolls of the enemy models within 8 inch. So it's kind of messing with your opponents a lot, because as it's written, it's good for every type of dice roll. So it's very huge if you can move the Chorister inside the formation of the enemy. Your Heretic Trooper is the regular infantry you can choose, and it can have any equipment, and there is a little ability or upgrade possibility with the Heretic Legionaries, and if you buy it for +10 ducat, you can give either the ranged or melee attack +1 dice, which is very useful in some way. And the only restriction here is that you cannot have more Legionaries than Troopers, so you need to keep the balance between them. And this is a kind of good compared to other factions basic unit, that you can a little bit boost your basic unit's success rate in battle. The Warwolf is your tough guy, and it also dedicated melee without any possibility for ranged attack, and it has a specified equipment, so cannot have anything else other than which is listed, and it's maybe one of the toughest melee unit I believe in the game, as it has fear, as usually all big guy, but it has tough, also negates difficult terrain. It has a -3 built-in armor, which is very good for 145 ducat in my opinion, and the attack that it can do is very good. But first of all, the other good thing about it is that it's got the looping dash, and with that it's always getting +1 dice for the dash action. So it's very good. But the Assault Beast means you can do either 1 melee attack or 2 with the claws, and all of them is risky. So only drawback for the Warwolf is that if you miss one of the attacks, since it's risky the activation and it's very tricky in that case, but usually it's worth it because the weapons are very good, as there is 2 weapons, the chainsaw mouth and the shredding claws, and yeah, the mouth is ignoring armor, which is very good, as a built-in extra with +1 dice and +1 injury dice, and the claws simply giving +1 injury dice. So all in all, it's like a +3 attack because it has a built-in +2, so it's very tough to kill it and also to fight it. So the Wretched is also basic infantry, but more basic than the Trooper. It cannot have any equipment beside the maximum 10 ducat equipment, but needs to have at least one weapon, so maybe a club or sword or whatever. And Law of Hell also applies here, that if it kills an elite unit, it gets free. So it's also the funny stuff here with it. I mean, free as earning the freedom based on like lore, so that's it. The Dark Blessing is interesting as the Wretched is skilled. You can give one blessing marker to the nearest friendly elite and heretic keyword unit. So this is good for your elite units to get a little bit of boost, which is, to be honest, not bad because blessing marker is not that easy to acquire, especially on Hell side, and this can be a nice, interesting boost actually. The Artillery Witch is your sniper unit, kind of. It's squishy, let's say like that, but it's very intimidating as you can have maximum 2 due to the Artillery Witch battery rule, and that one lets you to get a second one if the mission is above 1000 ducat. It's got Abiotic Life, which is giving -1 dice for the injury roll if the attack is coming from a guess keyword against the witch, and it levitates, so it's like not exactly fly, but similar as it's ignoring the climb or jump requirement for getting into specific positions. So it can be very useful to get a very good position for the witch to drop the bomb. And about the bomb, why it's deadly? First of all, because it got the Infernal Strike rule, which is saying that technically it's almost a bloodbath, 3d6 dice damage as you add it up. And also it has the blast keyword, so if you manage to drop it on the enemy, it's doing the 3d6 damage, and within the blast range everyone has a regular 2d6. If they are not dead, due to the mighty explosion they getting pushed away, the 3 inch, so it's also very useful to mess the positioning of the enemy units. But it has the duck rule, which is giving -1 injury dice for the injury roll if the enemy unit is in contact with the terrain piece and at least ½ inch tall, but only if the terrain piece or cover is between the target and the Artillery Witch. And the Anointed is your strong unit, and it doesn't have any ability but just the regular +1 dice +1 dice, but it has a built-in reinforced armor and Infernal Brand. So it's very good to use the heavy weapons with it as a base stuff. If you want, you can spam multiple Anointed and use more heavy weapon, or you can rely on other stuff, but it's a choice of release building. Regarding battle kits, in ranged weapons they don't have anything specific. They can get anti-material rifle, automatic rifle and submachine gun as well, but only for glory. So they have some extra option, let's say, but it's come with a price. For melee weapon they have a few extra that they can use compared to other factions, and the first one is the Blasphemous Staff, which has the critical and fire keyword, and the Evil Power ability on the weapon is giving +1 dice for the success rolls or successful risky rolls. So this can be a good boost if you rely on a lot of action, for example. The Hellblade is a simple two-handed melee weapon and giving +1 injury dice and the fire keyword on the weapon. The Sacrificial Blade is giving +2 injury modifier and it's a risky keyword weapon, so it's very good against like armored units technically. And the Tartarus Claws is technically the melee weapon of the Death Commando, which is the 2 attack as it has 2 hands, and Cleave 2 keyword, which is the double attack and critical. And there's a Harrowing Assault ability on the weapon. If you manage to down or kill an enemy unit, you can immediately make a 3-inch move with that unit. So this can be good, as also it can be used to go into melee with another unit. So that's a very good weapon actually. For grenades there is no new, you can have the frag, gas and incendiary grenades. For shields only the trench shield. For armor only the standard armor and the reinforced armor. And in the equipment list there is anything specific, which is kind of new, but still there is a few that is interesting, which is one of them is the Unholy Trinket, and if you use it, it just simply means that the failed roll doesn't end the activation of your unit. So this can give you some flexibility with that unit, but it comes with a little bit of price if it's a consumable item. The Unholy Relic gives the Fear keyword to the unit. The Infernal Brand is giving the Negate Fire keyword for the unit. And the Hellbound Soul Contract is simply giving one blood marker to the enemy models within 1 inch, unless they have the Negate Fire keyword. So imagine something like you kill it and it kind of explodes in a hellish fire or something like that. For glory items there is a few specific ones. For example, the Armor of Kobar, which is giving -3 modifier, and as one ability the Lead of Death is giving 1 blessing marker to the unit for every friendly unit that is taken out of action. So technically the more units you lose, the more blessing marker that unit gets. And as a weight of scenes, you have -1 dice for the risky rolls, for dash action, and also you cannot have any shield with that unit. The Demonic Aura Grenade has the Assault, Blast Free, Ignore Armor keyword and Ignore Cover, and also Scatters, so it's a very not bad grenade, and it doubles the blood marker placed on the enemy unit that's hit by the Demonic Aura Grenade. And as an extra, the terrain is not blocking the blast, so anyone within the blast range is affected by this. The Executioner's Axe is a two-handed axe with +2 on the injury dice result. It attacks twice and gets the critical keyword. And the Mark of Cain, technically a reflect ability, as if any unit making damage on the unit which has the Mark of Cain is doing the same amount of blood marker on the unit that's doing the damage. So if a unit is giving 2 blood marker to the unit, it's giving 2 blood marker also to the attacker. So it's kind of good to make a free blood marker on the enemy unit as a retaliation kind of. And the Tormentor Chain is having very interesting ability as well, as the direct forwards is saying that if you make 1 blood marker, you make a second one because it has the shrapnel keyword, and as an extra after the attack, you can kind of make a scorpion like get over here move, as you can move the target 12 inch towards your attacking unit with the chain. And also any enemy model cannot retreat against a unit which has the Tormentor Chain. So it's kind of like a lock-in type of ability on it. As for promotion in campaign, only your Artillery Witch and Anointed maybe can be the primary candidate in my opinion, and the secondary the Mercenaries, or if you want to get some weird look, the Troopers, but it's really depending on what you're aiming for as a list building during the campaign, as you can have 5 Anointed in total, so maybe those can eat up all your extra slots for that. Artillery Witch is really depending on how much you have, 1 or 2, or what is your aim, if you want to buy any mercenaries for example. So it's really trickier here to decide I believe, but as I said, it's mostly up to your list building idea for the specific campaign. And as for like my final thoughts about Heretic Legion, as I played a lot against them in campaign and one-off missions, so if you have the Werewolf, I think it's the biggest distraction for your opponent, as they need to commit a lot of unit to kill it, or they need to avoid it and you need just to go forward with it and that's it. If you don't have the Wolf, you have several options how you want to build your army, because you can have 5 Anointed which can have a bigger fire line, let's say, as a 5 heavy, possibly heavy weapon can do a lot of damage. And you can also have 2 Artillery Witch which can kind of make a lot of chaos in your opponent's line. And also as an extra option you can have a lot of Legionary or Trooper or Wretched. And the Wretched can give the blessing marker to your elite. So there is a lot of option you can go in the base Heretic Legion as I see it and as I feel it. And it's really depending on if you want to go on a more elite version with the Werewolf, which is maybe having kind of a movement distraction on one side of the battlefield and on the other side you move with your other units, or you can have a mass army doctrine or type of battle tactic, as you can field a lot of different units and simply just try to gun down your opponent and doing some melee with the commando and chorister depending on which one you have. So there are interesting options here. The glory items and the special items also good to little bit customize your warband in a specific way, or giving them more keywords for negate and destruction for your opponent. So yeah, it's really versatile kind of, and their sub-warbands also very interesting in a way, I believe. Especially I like 2 of them as an idea. So yeah, I think Heretic Legion is a very good generalistic army for the Hell faction, so you can have fun with it for sure, I believe. If you have already a specific way to play it, so if you prefer the Warwolf idea more or the mass army, show the suggestions please, because personally I'm curious here what you can come up with over the weeks, or you can show what is your idea for building the army you want to play, and soon I will start the sub-faction videos for Heretic Legion. Until that, thank you for your attention and see you in the next video. Thank you and bye bye.